troubleshooting technology needs a delicate touch, or just more explosives. We're taking a quick peek at Hard Reset Redux. Hard Reset Redux is a remaster of the original Hard Reset from 2011. It was the first game to be released to the public by Polish developer Flying Wild Hog. The original game got some good reviews, and Flying Wild Hog has been able to use it as a stepping stone for their larger projects, such as the reboot of Shadow Warrior in 2013. Redux isn't the first time Hard Reset has been re-released. In 2012, Hard Reset Extended Edition made its way to both digital and physical retailers. The Extended Edition included the Exile DLC and has completely replaced the original 2011 digital-only release. I can't seem to find that available anywhere. I do find it a bit odd that Flying Wild Hog has decided to give Hard Reset another go. I could understand a sequel, as the game seemed to be successful enough, but I never thought the devs would try a remastered version of it. After all, Hard Reset isn't that old of a game at this point. It still holds up both mechanically and visually, and you would think anything the devs would want to do to it could be done through a patch of some kind. Either way, a remaster it is, and Redux is what we got. I do have to say, though, I'm glad that they decided to do it. Hard Reset Redux takes many of the things Flying Wild Hog learned from their work on Shadow Warrior, and incorporates it into the dystopian cyberpunk environment quite well. One of the biggest complaints about the original release was how it tended to throw you curveballs when it came to difficulty scaling, and this has been entirely redone for Redux. There's also been the addition of some new enemies, such as these cyborg zombie dudes, and a slight update to the visuals. I say a slight update, because even though Hard Reset Redux advertises to have some graphical improvements, I really didn't notice much of a difference. Redux also literally copies two things from the Shadow Warrior reboot: dashing and swordplay. Previously in Hard Reset, Fleture, the main character, would go straight into a run when you press the shift key. In Redux, he'll first do a dash in whatever direction you're moving before breaking out into a run. This right here is why I feel you should check out this game even if you've already played Hard Reset before. Flying Wild Hog was founded by a few of the developers from People Can Fly, the studio behind one of my favorite FPS games, Painkiller. These guys know how important strafing and dodging can be to a shooter from their experience with Painkiller, but the original Hard Reset was lacking much in that department. There was no increased momentum from constantly jumping like in Painkiller, nor were you able to shoot while running. Instead, Fletcher is locked into a sprint animation and can only run where he's looking. This can make it both annoying and unnecessarily difficult to get out of the way of attacks, even if enemies telegraph their attacks really well. The addition of a dash mechanic drastically changes combat, finally letting you easily dodge out of the way of charging enemies and giving you more of a chance to get away from those dang walking grenades. Really hate those stupid things. Swordplay, on the other hand, is fun, but really not all that great. It feels like something that was added in because it could be, instead of really being needed. Hard Reset only had 2 weapons to begin with, each weapon having multiple firing modes you could unlock for them, and I always loved watching the guns morph between modes. The sword is its own weapon, without any unlockable modes at all. While swordplay felt great against Shadow Warrior's squishy enemies, I can't help but feel like I'm just flailing about with a stick against the robots in Hard Reset. Pretty much every enemy in Hard Reset has a melee attack that they can use to counter your sword, and using it against exploding enemies is a really bad idea. You don't get any fancy moves or special powers like you do in Shadow Warrior for it either, and if anything, the sword is a bit of a hindrance. Redux has changed around how you can switch your weapons. In the original game, Q selected your bullet weapon and E selected your energy weapon. In Redux, you just press Q to quickly switch between weapons. Weapon modes are still changed with the number keys, but this makes it very easy to get the weapon you want when you want it. Until you get the sword. While the Plasma Katana both looks and sounds cool, it takes up a slot for your quick select. So instead of switching from a bullet weapon to an electricity weapon and then back to bullets, you now go from bullets to electricity to sword to bullets. That extra second can mean life or death on the harder difficulties. You can use your F and keys to pick weapons specifically, with your sword being on F3, but it kind of defeats the purpose of the quick swap key in the first place. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the sword play in Hard Reset Redux, it's not enough to make me not want to recommend the game to anybody. Even if Blade Runner-esque cyberpunk dystopian future cities are overdone, I still love the way Hard Reset looks and feels, with all of its physics objects and layers of vertical detail. That Redux keeps intact. It also keeps the game's insane plot. All of the cutscenes are exactly the same as they were in the original game, and all the voice acting is just as odd as it was too. The story still feels disconnected and is extremely confusing and is just a flat-out mess. I have no idea what's going on half the time, but the game is fun enough that I just don't care. Redux also didn't improve on the Atlas boss fight, which is just as bad as it was before. I never find any of these giant boss fights all that engaging in these kind of games. They had them in Painkiller, they had them in the Shadow Warrior reboot, and Atlas and Hard Reset is just plain boring. If you can get past it, there's a lot of fun to be had in Hard Reset Redux, and if you're a fan of first-person shooters, especially the arena shooters like Quake 2 and Painkiller, I'd say definitely give this game a try. It's available on GOG and Steam for $19.99, and includes everything from the original campaign to the annoying survival mode and even the Hard Reset Exile DLC. That's about 12 levels or so of content, all there in one ultimate package. You can even get the game cheaper if you happen to own either Shadow Warrior 2013 or Hard Reset Extended Edition. Having either of those two titles in your Steam or GOG libraries will give you a 85% off discount on Redux, putting it around $3. And that is one heck of a bargain. That's all I got for you guys for now. Please let me know what you think about the game or this video in the comments section. I'm the MegapieMan, and I'll talk to you guys later. Understand the physics behind them to make sure that they hit the target they're aiming at. Arcshot takes things a bit farther than just the trajectory of your arrows with the implementation of a stamina meter. Everything you do that's more than just leisurely walking